2015.
2015! 2015?
So, yeah, it's old. But that doesn't mean it's worthless. 64 gigs of storage, Intel Atom CPU, 2 gigabytes of RAM. Come on, my shoe has more RAM than that. Wait, so how was this able to run Windows 10? Well, if the processor uses an x86 based architecture, then it's not running Windows RT or Windows for ARM. It had to be laggy, because those are literally the minimum system requirements for a 64-bit version of Windows 10. Okay, enough about specs. Let's see this dinosaur. Micro USB? I remember those days. The charger actually looks pretty cool. It's even got a little LED. Except the tablet itself doesn't charge. And the mini display port's also broken. And while we're on the topic of displays, and iFixit rates this a 1 out of 10 for repairability. Yeah, that seems about right. Well, this seems like a lost cause, so I guess I can't make a video. Sorry, guys.
Aww. Psych!
I'm gonna play Frankenstein with this tablet, and no one can stop me. Okay, let's start with the battery, because I need to be able to power this thing.
Open it up.
Okay, I'm going to try connecting the charging circuit first, and I'm only going to connect directly to the battery as a last resort. Okay, so I had to directly connect the battery, but I'm never plugging this into an outlet. Portable batteries will be the only way this thing gets charged from here on out. Which is fine, because a portable arcade cabinet is much better, in my opinion, than one you have to plug into a wall anyway. Okay, so the mini display port is a nice-to-have feature, but one of my goals is not to spend any money on this project, so I'm a skip. The screen speaks for itself, so I'll be lucky if it even works. Even more lucky if the touch works. The camera, I don't really know, and I don't really care. The USB port actually looks okay. It's 3.0. So hopefully I can actually use it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to resort to the SD card slot, which also looks okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The headphone jack, there's nothing stuffed down there. Looks relatively intact, so that should be good. And I don't really know if the magnetic keyboard strip works on the bottom, but I also don't really care. Okay, now that it's charged for a bit, let's see if the display works. The boot key is the volume up button. Okay, the backlight's on.
Nice.
And there's the boot logo. That's good to see. Alright, the keyboard seems to work fine. So that's epic. I just gotta turn secure boot off. And save. Onto the software. By the way, I'm using Ventoy because it's easier and faster than flashing a USB drive every time I want to try a different operating system. It also holds more than one at a time. It's times like these where Linux shines the brightest. Even if Windows 10 does work, this device is going to run like crap. Especially after Microsoft began installing Copilot automatically on Windows 10. Yes, Windows 10. I guarantee it would crash on this PC, no doubt. Anyway, let's try a few different Linux distros. The version of Batocera that was meant for my processor gets stuck on the boot screen. This build was specifically meant for lower end or Atom CPUs, and it just doesn't work. So that settles that. The non-Atom version of Batocera appeared to work okay until you start playing a game. Then you'll notice that things get slow and the audio cuts in and out. It's not ideal, and it doesn't even matter what game it is. You can be playing Game Boy Advance, NES, MAME, it doesn't matter. It's just going to be slow. Just for fun, I tried SteamOS, but as you might have guessed, that did not work. So, on to Plan D. I've been wiping the operating systems on the actual eMMC storage with a live install of LMD6. It's a version of Linux Mint based off of Debian. and it runs pretty okay. There's a few issues, but those should be fine if I run some updates. So let's give it a shot. Okay, even after running updates, the sound still does not work, and neither does the battery indicator. Brightness is also kind of screwed up, but I'm not super worried about that. I'm gonna go see if I can find DKMS for the tablet. Basically, that's just a custom kernel that has all the drivers that you need specifically for the device. Ah, here we go. This is exactly what I was looking for. It's good to know that I'm not the only person with this hardware. And look at that. It's the 4th option in this list. That is what I'm using, Surface 3. Okay, now that DKMS are installed, I can actually play sound and hear it. I can go over to my battery and actually see what the percentage is. Currently it's at 41. I don't know if you can read that. The brightness slider also works now, so that's cool. And it's a little slow, but it still works. As you can see, Bluetooth is also functioning. And Wi-Fi as well. That's how I was able to download everything on here. The touchscreen doesn't work. I think it's just straight up broken, but it didn't work even when I tried using Windows. The headphone jack works though, so that's cool. Now it's time for some totally 100% legal emulation. I got Emulation Station to start up with the PC automatically, so you can't even tell it's a regular computer under the hood. One last thing I did as far as simplicity, I made it so that if you press the power button, it just automatically turns off, no questions asked. And obviously, if you hold the power button down when it's off, it turns back on, you know, the whole deal. Okay, I'm going to try GBA because it's not too demanding, and of course we can't forget about the e-waste controller. I mean, the Game Boy Advance didn't have analog sticks, which is the only thing wrong with this controller, so it all just kind of works out. The PC is actually emulating a GBA, which is emulating an arcade cabinet, so if you think about it, it's kind of crazy, but it works, and performance is good. I did try DS emulation, but that was just asking too much. Here's Galaga, one of my personal favorites. Sometimes I'll play this on my 3DS. Here's Breakout, one of the easiest games to run. But yeah, still a fun game nonetheless. Not really that great at it, but I'm sure I could get better. Here is Pac-Man, running fairly decently. I honestly can't think of any games that are really that demanding. I don't even think this system would really struggle with any. But yeah, obviously need some work at Pac-Man. I do miss the sound and music that came with Bad Sarah, but I mean, worst case scenario, I can just put a speaker somewhere in the place that I want to play a game, or just throw Bluetooth headphones on like everyone else. The other issue that I ran into is these like damaged marks right here. I did change the resolution so that it was kind of cutting those parts out. I think I am eventually just going to put like electrical tape or something over that area. I mean, it's not, this little area right here isn't too much of a problem. It's not covering the game, so it's not that big of an issue. Over here, it's not really as bad. I might just put like electrical tape down here and then like that, because this part of the screen is for the most part fine. I am going to make an actual cabinet that this tablet's going to go into, so it looks like an arcade cabinet, you know? But I'm going to have to wait until I actually have enough free time to do that. I'm thinking about using pallet wood because I've seen people actually do it that way, and it looks pretty decent. And I have spray paint, so it's not really an issue. But, yeah, the battery just died, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for part 2 whenever I get around to making it. I got halfway, so I'll catch you guys in the next video.